Hi everybody, thank you for joining me today. So on this video we're going to be using the foils with the sticky embossing powder. It's a technique that I used on Tuesday's video, this past Tuesday, so I will make sure at the end to make sure I link that video, okay? So in getting started, I already prepped my paper. I have it glued to the chipboard, and I've covered it with clear embossing powder. I then laid out all of my triangles. I cut different sizes, some by hand, some I used a square die and kind of traced them out. And then once I had them all down, I used press and seal to keep my pattern all together. And then I flipped it over like you see here, and everywhere where the papers are touching each other, I'm putting down the glue. Okay, I'm doing that part first, and then once I have all those small sections done, then I'm going to put glue over the entire everything in the back that I see. And then when I lay everything down, I can then go through the front, and anywhere where paper is sticking up or I wasn't able to reach it because I can't see it, I'm going to add more glue. And we're using the art glitter glue for our liquid adhesive, and I'm just pressing everything down. Now if you don't have press and seal, you could always lay out your design, take a picture of it, and then start laying everything down. I just suggest I think the whole world got it from Jennifer McGuire, and you know, it's a great idea. The press and seal doesn't tear the paper, and it keeps everything together. So if I was you, if you're not using it at home already, I would get me two, one for the kitchen and one for your craft room. And you can see there, I'm just lifting up pieces and adding the glue wherever, you know, it's not attached down. And then I just laid down my photo to make sure I had all my areas covered. Now the main thing I wanted to show is the distress part, how I was going to ink those up. So initially I'm going around with my splatter stamp and using the VersaFine Black Onyx ink and going around the image with the different types. So the larger splatter spots, and then the mist one. There's like 3 or 4 different ones, and then there's a distress line one that I'm going to use to kind of frame my photo, which you can see right here. I'm laying down just to make sure I have everything in the right area. Oh, and for the collection, I am using the Prima Wild and Free. This is the paper. I used a 12x12 paper pad and a couple of the 6x6 papers to create my triangles. And then I'm also going to add elements from like the chipboard and I think a sticker collection, which you'll see as we go. So once I lay down all the stamps and stuff in the black ink, I cleaned off my stamp, and now I'm going around with the Versamark, which is the clear sticky ink. And what we're going to do is, well, you can see I'm laying down all of the Ranger sticky embossing powder on all the areas where I had did the Versamark. And then I'm going to move my photo, and I'm going to tap off the embossing powder. Now, because VersaFine is a pigment ink and it does stay wet longer than your dye inks, some of the sticky powder did get on even that. And all you do is heat up your heat tool and you let it warm up, and it turns shiny, and that's when you know it's sticky. And once it's sticky, you stop and move on to another place because you don't want to overheat it to the point where you dry it. You know what I mean? So once it's sticky, then we're going to use the deco foil. I chose this one is, yeah, just the black foil, but the foil will give it a much brighter color. And when you tilt the layout, you'll see that the certain spots are shiny and others are more like towards the back, so it gives you different layers, and it's super quick and fun. So you can see once it's sticky, you just lay the foil on top, and I'm using my bone folder just to rub it to make sure that it's sticking. and I'm just going to go around everywhere where I had the sticky powder and put the foil over top of it. And you'll see me at times like with my hand rubbing across the 12 by 12, the layout itself, and I'm doing that to find the sticky parts, because obviously once you heat it up, it goes kind of clear. So unless you're tilting it and moving it, which I really couldn't do in the video, the only other way is to feel around and see where it's sticky. And wherever it's sticky, that's where you put the foil. Now for the photo, I'm just grabbing some of the foam tape that I have. This is a small roll that came in one of the kits, I think, from Scrapbooking with Me Boutique. So I'm using some of that. And I'm also using it on the sentiment, which is going to be down in the bottom. And then after figuring out exactly where I wanted to place that and making sure it was straight, I'm then going to grab, I think I had a few more of the triangles that were in some of the collection, like the chipboard or the ephemera, and I'm going to use those to add dimension to the triangles. So these that I'm going to add, the chipboard pieces, I'm just going to add straight to the page itself, and with a little bit of glue, so that way it's sticky and it's got some of the art glitter glue, give it good strong hold. And then there's some just regular paper ones that I'm going to put small pieces of the foam tape on the back of each, and that will give it a little dimension around as well, because I'm going to use these kind of not as fillers, but just here and there, just to give a little bit of dimension and, you know, make it more complete. That's what I love about these sketches. They're so fun, and you can stay exactly to what you see if you want to be that, you know, precise. You can change it up just as long as it gives you that inspiration and you wind up with a very unique project for yourself, you know what I mean? And you can change it up. We could do this in any color scheme, and it would work really for any photo. I loved it. This one was fun for me. So at this point, because all the splatters and stuff is done in black, I'm just grabbing some of my Copic white. I'm going to add a little spray of water, and then we're going to do some splatter. And I like, whenever I have splatters, I like to have contrast. Sometimes I'll leave it just black or gold, but a lot of times when I do the black, I like to have the white splatters as well. I think it gives it, I don't know, nice contrast. So once we're done, we're going to sit this all aside. I'm cleaning off my brush as quick as possible, only because the Copic opaque white, it can ruin your brush, so I try to clean it as soon as possible. Alright, and then as we go here, we got some close-ups on some of the foil and the different splatters. And I hope you guys try this. I know a lot of times we get different craft supplies and you may not always know how to use it, but if you don't have a laminator, this is a great technique to use some of those foils and have fun with it. If you're doing an ocean theme and you want to grab some blue foils, you can use this technique using your sticky embossing powder, or even just using score tape as highlights around a photo. So there's a lot of different options out there, and don't feel limited. Just use your imagination and go for it. So at the end here, I'm going to show you the links for the Technique Tuesday video and last week's retake video, and I hope you guys subscribe. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a great Sunday.